On Monday, Wightlink held the official opening of its brand new terminal building in Portsmouth, and as the company moves towards its future with 45 million worth of improvements, it has also delved into its past by exploring some of the history of the site as well as some of the famous faces associated with the Isle of Wight. Our reporter Richard Stringer was there at the opening to find out more.
Celebrating the future by looking at the past, Wightlink officially opened their new terminal building on the Portsmouth to Fishbourne route. The new displays highlight where they've come from as well as where they're going.
We're very excited. It's a real milestone for us. We have a £45 million investment we're making in the Portsmouth to Isle of Wight route for our car ferries. This is the next step in that investment, which is the opening of our brand new customer building. We were really excited when we found out, and Graham helped us to understand what the history of this site was about. So we've taken the opportunity to talk about that in our new customer building. We're also talking about all the famous people who are associated with the Isle of Wight. So as our customers prepare to travel, they'll be able to learn about the Isle of Wight and to learn about all the people who've lived there over the years and what the big contributions they've made.
Ferries have been running here for very many years, I mean even into the 19th century and beyond. And the modern ferries really ran from the old Portsmouth Point, the Broad Street around there, and they continued to run there until the early 80s. And then because ships got bigger and because traffic was quite an issue around the narrow streets around old Portsmouth, they decided that the ferry terminal should move to the current site here, and it's been here since 1982. Because this was originally a dry dock in the 1860s. The council developed it as part of a plan to increase the amount of business in the port. That carried on for quite a while. Then in the late 1920s, the dock was converted to take collier ships because the old power station used to sit behind the dock, and they used to deliver coal, and it would be transported up conveyor belts either side of the dock and over into the power station. When the power station was closed in the early 70s or the mid 70s, then it became the Wightlink ferry terminal. The old dock was covered in, and this is where we are now.
And what exciting things were learned about the site's history during renovations?
Well, one of the interesting things I discovered was that the old polar exploration ship Discovery was actually sat in the old dry dock in 1925. It was having some work done on its hull. And when I found the photograph in the museum service, I wasn't quite sure, and it was this really Portsmouth. So I did some checking with the Dundee Heritage Trust, who look after Discovery, and they confirmed in fact the ship was here in Portsmouth in 1925. So that was an interesting discovery that we didn't know about.
We discovered, great big granite blocks that were used in a much earlier stage on this site for the dry dock area, which I'm sure Graham's been talking about, and it's just great. There's just this history around us, and we want to make the most of it and share that with our customers.
Famous people who had a connection with the island. Some of them have lived there for a long period of time. Poets like Tennyson, obviously Queen Victoria spent a lot of time there. We have a lady called Julia Margaret Cameron, who was a photographer who lived on the island. So we've put a number of displays up there with a bit of biographical information about them, about photographs, so you can see what sort of range of people actually lived on and travelled to the Isle of Wight.
So why are people interested in this site, and what can we expect to see in the future?
I think it's the longevity of the history, that the connection with sea travel, the fact that the site has been constantly evolving from a dry dock originally, then to a collier station, now to the ferry terminal. So it's constantly evolving, constantly changing, but still keeping its connections with the island and the sea.
We're bringing in a new ship which is environmentally friendly. So it has a battery electric diesel hybrid system. So that's going to be the first one of those on the Solent, in fact, the first one in England operating. That's going to be nice and quiet. It's going to be low emissions. So we're really sort of planning ahead for the future and to how we can contribute to a more healthy and environmentally friendly transport system in this part of the world.
Richard Stringer, That's TV.